Good morning, Chillie with Chillie's Cruises here with travel and cruise industry news for the 19th day of September 2019. Um, and unfortunately, folks, it's another day where the travel and cruise industry in this part of the world is dominated by weather again. Getting tired of weather. Be glad when we get through this season and get back to normal stuff. Before we get to the stories for this morning, a little bit of personal business coming up Saturday's broadcast. I will be out at the horse farm again this weekend. Matter of fact, I go out tonight and take care of the mini horses and a couple dogs and a cat for one of my niece's clients. So I'll be out there actually through Monday night, I believe it is. But anyway, the Saturday broadcast, I'm currently planning on the broadcast getaway bug. The broadcast being normal Saturday morning at 6 a.m. The drawback to that is because I'm not in my studio, if you want to call it that, where I've got some lighting. I'm a little bit, I don't know for sure how the lighting situation will be Saturday morning, because that's, 6 a.m. Our time is still not light yet. So if I'm a little bit late going on, I'm a little bit late going on. The last time I was out there, I believe I still got on schedule, even though I didn't have lighting. But anyway, that'll be on Saturday. Welcome to any of you guys that are new this morning. As always, I appreciate each and every one of you. Our subscriber count actually went down some. It's back to 1,510. I'm not sure why or who. Somebody, I guess, didn't like what I was doing. I don't know. But anyway, the subscriber count dropped back to 1,510, but that's okay. It'll come back. It'll keep growing again. But anyway, getting on to the news this morning, and I'm a little aggravated. The Weather Channel is, and much of the coverage of what's going on in the tropics now is centered around Houston, which is nothing. Well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. It's a tropical depression now. It actually had a name for about 15 minutes yesterday and dropped back to a depression. Now, yeah, it's dumping a ton of rain on Houston. I understand that. I understand that it is, there's flooding. And like I said, we're going to talk about that in a second. But they're just not given any coverage at all to Hurricane Humberto, and it banged Bermuda during the night. Now, it was not a direct hit. It did skirt off to the north, but still they had hurricane and tropical storm winds. Roughly 80% of Bermuda, the entire island, is without power. So there's been some significant damage to Bermuda from Hurricane Humberto. It is still a Category 3 hurricane. So it's still packing a lot of force. The winds and rain will continue through a good bit of into the day today in Bermuda, as they're getting the backside of it now, as it's gone past. So you got the swirling around and coming back on the back end of it. The strength to it is it's moving quickly. It's like 23 miles an hour. So it's going to get on out of there later on in the day today. But the winds have been holding steady between 120, 130 miles an hour. I mean, it's Category 3. That's not nothing to laugh about. Anyway, my friends out in Bermuda, I hope you guys are surviving this and you don't do anything silly. Um, the winds go 90 miles out from the center, so until it gets 100 miles away from Bermuda, you're still going to get wind and rain on the backside of this. So hopefully they'll get some work done on getting power restored quickly to you guys. A tough situation. Another storm. Thankfully, not near as bad as Dorian was to the Bahamas, but still, our thoughts are with you guys. Now, on to the other two weather stories. Houston, as I said earlier, is a tropical depression now. Imelda was named yesterday for, I don't know, a couple hours, and then it dropped back to a depression. They're still referring to it, of course, as tropical depression Imelda now. And it just deluged southeast Texas with rain. There is a tremendous amount of flooding in the Houston area. And they're calling it a flash flooding emergency, which is some kind of designation of higher seriousness to flash flooding other kinds. But anyway, it's moving along the coast now. The heaviest rains currently are in Beaumont and going into south. What would that be? The southwestern part of Louisiana along the coast. But it's dumped a ton of water in Houston. And again, the back end of this is still dumping more water in Houston. So Houston and Galveston and that area, you're going to get some more rain through the day today. Hopefully things will start correcting themselves soon after that. There are some areas there that are in double digits in inches of rain. So again, our thoughts are with you guys. Like I say, I'm surprised that, I guess not surprised is the word, but that the coverage is all on Imelda and not on Humberto and even Tropical Storm Jerry, which became the 10th storm of the season to be named. And that, of course, is the next thing on the agenda. Jerry is a tropical storm expected to be a hurricane later today. There are tropical storm watches for the Leeward Islands. It continues to strengthen according to the National Hurricane Center. The maximum sustained winds have increased to 60 miles an hour. It's moving about west-northwest at 15 miles an hour. When it gets to 74 miles an hour, it will become a Category 1 hurricane, and that is expected to be later on today. It's going to head toward a number of the islands that may or may not be directly impacted, but we'll definitely get some rain and wind. And those, of course, are Antigua, Barbuda, St. Martin, St. Bart's, Saba, St. Eustace, basically everything that's east of Puerto Rico. The current track of Jerry is that it is going to start turning north probably before it gets to Puerto Rico. At least that is the hope. And of course, this is all subject to change. So the wind blows a little different and it could change the path. But it is expected to turn north before it has too much impact on as far west as Puerto Rico, and then start heading up directly toward Bermuda again. It probably is going to pass to the east of the Bahamas this time, so that they hopefully won't get any more problems from this if it continues on this path. But there's a really good chance that Bermuda is going to be looking at another storm coming right behind Humberto. So it's that time of year, folks. It's a very active season. There are several other depressions that aren't even worth talking about yet, which may or may not become situations today, tomorrow, the next day. Now, again, for me, I'm getting tired of talking about weather all the time. But in this space, when you're talking about travel and cruise industry, you know, that dominates the news at this time. Now, there are a couple other things we're going to talk about. One's good, one's bad. The bad one, I guess, excuse me, it may not be bad to everybody, but to me, I don't particularly care about this. Royal Caribbean is removing some of the perks that passengers receive when booking a boardwalk or Central Park balcony stateroom on Oasis class cruise ships. Known as the Dine, Drink, and Discover program, was a collection of perks that folks got for booking these rather expensive, more expensive at least, cabins on the boardwalk and Central Park. The program will change effective January 1st. So if you're booked on one of the ships now, you're covered until the 1st of January. After the 1st of January, it's changing, and Royal Caribbean is supposedly sending an email out to all affected passengers sometime later on today. Everyone that's, excuse me, my throat is rough this morning. Everyone that this is going to affect will get a $50 non-refundable onboard credit per stateroom. And this program was, was some pretty neat perks. You got a complimentary meal at Johnny Rockets for up to 4 people. You had unlimited soda package for 2 guests. You got the rock climbing wall for the entire family. If you were in Central Park, you got a complimentary lunch for 2 at the Sabre Taqueria, or at the Giovanni's Table, which is the Italian on several of them, or Jamie's Italian, which if you're on Harmony of the Seas or Symphony of the Seas, complimentary bottle of red wine. So they're doing away with that. Not sure why. I guess they're trying to save some money. But anyway, so those of you that are affected by this, you'll be hearing from Royal Caribbean sometime soon. The other thing is, if you remember a couple months ago when I did an interview show on living on a cruise ship with my friend from Australia, this is kind of dealing along those lines. And this is not the same company that she is dealing with. However, they're in the same general business, and that is a permanent residence on a cruise ship. The company is called Storylines. And basically what several of the companies have been doing that are in this business is they're buying old cruise ships and refurbishing them and using them for permanent residences and sailing around the seas, and you live on a cruise ship. Storylines is now aiming to build a 1,000-passenger resident ship fueled by LNG, the new latest fuel substance that burns a lot cleaner and so forth. So it will no longer be acquiring an older ship. The storyline mission is to deliver a sustainable, responsible, and thoughtful lifestyle for our residents. As we moved deeper into the design process, it became clear that we repurposed cruise ship created impacts that are not in alignment with our principles as a company, said the co-founder and CEO. Congratulations to him. I mean, I'm all in favor of this. We've talked about this ad nauseum in this space. The problems that the cruise ships have caused to the environment over the years, and the ships now fueled by LNG seems to be the way to go. It's a lot cleaner, a lot safer. There's some interesting problems that they still have to cover, but it's better at least. But anyway, the new ship from Storylines, it will be a 55,000-ton ship, and Brett the Cat's going to make his presence known. It will have 627 suites, 17 decks, a crew of 450. Residents start at about 350 grand, fully furnished. And basically, you live on a cruise ship. For those of you out there that are as crazy nuts about cruises as I am, and several others are, I mean, this is maybe something to consider at some point in time in your life. This is not a totally new thing. It's been around for the last few years and becoming more and more popular. I'm glad to see somebody out there is taking the steps to go with the newer, better ships. That's just awesome. So anyway, that about wraps us up today. Again, my thoughts are with you guys both in Bermuda and in Houston / Louisiana areas. Y'all stay safe. We'll be reporting if we get anything major. We'll be reporting back, of course, on the spot. If not, we'll see you Saturday morning again. I regularly post videos on all facets of the cruise and travel industry. So if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, my interview show is called Chillie Chats. And of course, travel and cruise industry news, which appears on this site at 6 a.m. on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday mornings. If nothing major happens between now and then, we will see you again Saturday a.m. at 6 a.m. All of you guys have a great day today. We'll talk to you soon. This is Chillie, the fat travel guy. Later, y'all.